Well, happy Friday, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Friday to you, Terry.
Thank you, and you.
Let me ask you a question. If a man studies an issue and gives an opinion on it, and then after further study comes to a more nuanced view of his answer, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I think it's an excellent thing. It shows wisdom. It shows flexibility. Right. It shows a willingness to say, you know, I can improve my stance on this.
Well, that's what Trump did on immigration, and everybody's jumping on him for being I don't either, because it shows that he's capable of being president, of assessing new information, because he began to realize he's dealing with human beings, not ciphers. And to take 12 million people and shove them onto boxcars and run them across the border was just something that couldn't possibly be done.
While leaving their American citizen children behind.
So
yeah,
he's come out with a much more nuanced point of view and much more intelligent. And so they say that consistency is the hobgoblin of little minds. And the little minds of these yappers out in the boonies who are saying, isn't this terrible? But I think we shout out to Donald Trump. He's done a good thing, and Donald, don't back up. Just play it cool. Go into something besides immigration. It is too complex, frankly. Try something else like taxes. Cut taxes, and you will win the election. Well, it's becoming a brutal presidential campaign, with Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump now firing charges of racism and bigotry at each other. With just 2 months to go until the election, the race, oh goodness, it's a possibility it might even get nastier.
That is difficult to imagine. But the candidates are also facing other important issues. Clinton with her email scandal and Trump on immigration. Gary Lane has the story.
The new ad released by Hillary Clinton attempts to depict Donald Trump as a racist, a candidate supported by white supremacists and the Ku Klux Klan.
The reason a lot of Klan members like Donald Trump is because a lot of what he believes, we believe in.
Clinton said Trump and the Republicans are reinforcing harmful stereotypes, calling it a disturbing preview of the kind of president Trump would be.
He is taking hate groups mainstream and helping a radical fringe take over the Republican Party.
But Trump said the allegations are the oldest ploy in the Democratic playbook.
When Democratic policies fail, they are left with only this one tired argument. You're racist, you're racist, you're racist.
Trump said Clinton was not only attacking him, but millions of decent Americans who support him. In New Hampshire Thursday, the GOP candidate said he doesn't want white supremacists to vote for him. His campaign is about love for America, not hate. And although Mrs. Clinton leads in the national polls, it may become more difficult for her in the days ahead to regain voter trust and deflect attention away from her email scandal. The battle over race took the spotlight temporarily off of the Clintons' ongoing problems over her emails and the controversy over her connections between the Clinton Foundation and the State Department when she was Secretary of State. But the issue will be coming back. A federal judge has ordered the State Department to begin releasing additional emails starting September 13th. They're among the nearly 15,000 messages Clinton did not turn over, but were discovered on her personal server by the FBI. And Trump himself has been fighting off criticism against accusations that he's flip-flopped on his immigration policy. Gary Lane, CBN News.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, WikiLeaks. I'm not a great fan of WikiLeaks, but WikiLeaks says we've got some stuff that's going to be a game changer, and I don't know what they've got, but they have troves and troves and troves of all these emails and communications back and forth. And that could be the October surprise that would, you know, sink Hillary's ship. But we'll see if that's the case or not. Well, in other news, a U.S. Navy ship has actually fired back at an Iranian vessel after it came within 200 yards of the American ship. It's about time. Ephraim Graham has that story.
Pat, the Navy ship fired warning shots after the Iranian fast attack craft started approaching the U.S. ship.
My understanding is they were, in this instance, they did feel compelled ultimately to fire 3 warning shots. And the reason for that is they had used steps. They had taken steps already to try and de-escalate this situation, appropriate steps, including flares.
A spokesperson for the State Department said it was not clear what the intentions of the Iranian ships were, but the behavior was unacceptable. It was the latest incident between U.S. and Iranian ships in recent days. A Louisiana police captain says the Red Cross stopped him from praying with flood victims at a shelter in the aftermath of the devastating floods in that state. Captain Clay Higgins posted a Facebook video telling his story. He says a Red Cross worker in his town of Lafayette told him he could not pray because people might be offended, and he was then told to leave.
Our First Amendment rights include the freedom of religion and the free practice thereof. Moreover, man, bigger than our own First Amendment, what's wrong with offering loving prayer to people that are in a shelter? Why would an agency like the Red Cross deny such a thing?
Clay says he decided to go pray with victims because, quote, this flood is biblical in proportion, and I believe it certainly calls for a biblical response. He says he just wanted to show love, encouragement, and compassion. A spokesperson for the American Red Cross told the Advocate newspaper the organization does have a policy to be respectful of all faiths. She says if Higgins had approached managers, they would have accommodated him. Pat?
Bill Horan of our Operation Blessing has seen the Red Cross up close and personal, and he isn't too impressed with some of the stuff he's seeing. But the idea, the cross was the symbol of Jesus Christ. That's what the cross is all about. The Red Cross is Christian in its origin. And Red Cross workers are now telling police they can't pray with victims of disasters. You look at Louisiana, when about probably 90% of the people are either Catholic or Baptist. And they're religious people, and they want prayer, and they want somebody to give them spiritual comfort in a time of emergency. And suddenly, the Red Cross is coming out and saying, you can't pray? We want to be respectful of all faiths? I mean, come off it. But that's who they are, and as I say, we've encountered some of this stuff, and a lot of it is hype. You know, it's just a shame, you know, that some of the work that should be getting done on the ground isn't, and it's publicity driven. But Operation Blessing is on the ground in Louisiana, and it's helping the residents pick up the pieces after this recent devastating flood. Catherine Aiello's home was nearly destroyed by the floods, and her long bout with pancreatic cancer has left her too weak to salvage what's left. OB teams stepped in to help, but Kathy gives all the glory to God.
God's right there with you, and He will help you out of this situation. And it's only material. It's only material things.
Well, Operation Blessing teams have come in from all over the U.S. to show God's love in that devastation. And they, of course, have prayed with people, and they've seen healings, and people accept the Lord. And Operation Blessing has still accepted volunteers Monday through Saturday to help people recover from this huge natural disaster that has destroyed 60,000 to 70,000 homes. The devastation is unparalleled in that part, in Baton Rouge. It doesn't make any sense.